What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Nash here. Welcome back to the channel. Now, at the time that I'm recording this, it is Tuesday, June 29th, and it's 7:08 p.m. right now. It's literally 7:08. I just finished up watching NXT, and we have a new NXT North American champion in Isaiah Swerve Scott, obviously with the help of the rest of Hit Row. But with that being said, yes, I'm actually recording this on tonight on Tuesday. It'll be posted on Wednesday, tomorrow morning, when you guys see this. The reason I'm doing this is because of the fact that we actually have some plumbers coming in and repiping our bathrooms in our kitchen, and it's gonna be an all-day project, and there's a lot of shit that I gotta do in the morning. So that's why I'm doing this now. But with that being said, today's video it is all about King's Court. I told you guys in my last video where I was gonna talk about all the new cards that are in King's Court. This is actually brand new to us, so we didn't know anything about these cards until just recently. So without any further ado, let's get into it. So not only will I be revealing the new cards, I'm also going to be revealing the reprints that are in the set. And if I'm looking at this list correctly, if I'm looking at this correctly, I believe the first half, I believe. Okay, yeah, so I believe there are actually half of the set are brand new cards, and then the other half is basically reprints, if I remember correctly. So the reprints, I'm not gonna explain the effects, but the cards that we have never seen before, I will be talking about them and just how good they are, basically. So without any further ado, let's get into it. And I'm going in the order that's being posted on. So first up, we have Arcana Triumph Joker, which is a 10-star light warrior with question mark attack and 2500 defense. And the effect says, if this card is in your hand or grave, you can send one Queen's Knight, King's Knight, and Jack's Knight from your hand or face-up monster zone to the grave. Special summon this card. This card gains 500 attack multiple times the combined number of cards in both players' hands. You can discard one card to destroy all face-up cards your opponent controls with the same type, monster, spell, or trap as the discarded card. So it's basically it's basically a Slifer, so to speak, as far as its attack goes. But what's cool about this is that you can, if you discard a monster, then you're able to destroy. All face-up monsters your opponent controls, and the craziest part about it is that I believe this is not a once per turn, so you're able to use the effect 3 times per turn. So you're able to wipe. So you're pretty much able to wipe your opponent's board entirely. And the crazy part, as far as the main deck goes, this is the boss monster. This is the boss monster of the whole archetype. So this is actually one to definitely look after. This is I would probably put this as a 2 of. Only because you don't want to see this in your opening hand unless if you have all 3 King's Knight, Queen's Knight, Jack's Knight in your hand, or it face up in your monster zone. If you have that and this is in your opening hand, then yeah, you know what, go ahead and summon it. But it's gonna potentially be a brick. So if you do open up with this, I recommend adding cards like Pot of Generosity, because what that card does, or even also Reload. Reload would be another good one, because Reload could just basically refresh your hand with the same cards that you had initially. So that's a pretty cool card. Next up, we have Joker's Knight, which is a 5-star light warrior, 2000 attack, 1400 defense. You can send one King's Knight, Queen's Knight, Jack's Knight from your deck to the grave, and special summon this card from your hand. If you do, this card's name becomes the sent monster's name until the end phase. Okay, so it basically becomes those cards, basically, which is not too shabby. Not too shabby. During the end phase, if this card is in your grave, you can target one other light warrior in your grave, shuffle it into the deck, and if you do, add this card to your hand. You can only use each effect once per turn. So this is basically it's basically its own like 1-for-1, so to speak. It's a pretty good effect. Being able to recycle this card right off the bat from your graveyard back into your hand, and to be able to recycle your light warriors back into your deck from your graveyard is absolutely really. It's just really good. You're able to gain more resources with this card, so that's actually pretty good. Next up, we have Imperial Bower, which is kind of an odd name. It is a 4-star light warrior, 1500 attack and defense. If you control no other monsters, you contribute this card. Take two different monsters from your deck among King's Knight, Queen's Knight, and or Jack's Knight, and you can either add to your hand or special summon each monster. You can only use this effect once per turn. So it's basically you're basically just able to summon King's Knight and then King's Knight and Queen's Knight, and if you have Jack's Knight in the hand, you can just summon that. Activate polymerization, activate a fusion card, fuse them together, and you get Arcana Knight Joker, which that is just pretty good on its own. Next up, we have Joker's Straight. I believe this was the one that we saw in the anime, if I remember correctly. Joker's Straight. I believe this was the one that we saw in the anime. Discard one card, special summon one Queen's Knight from your deck. Add one King's Knight or Jack's Knight from your deck to your hand. Then immediately after this card resolves, you can normal summon one monster. You cannot special summon a monster from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except Light Warriors. During the end phase of this card is in your grave, you can target a Light Warrior in your grave, shuffle it into the deck, and if you do, add this card to your hand. You can only use each effect once per turn. So again, it's just basically... You're basically just able to spam your board with even more monsters to go into your fusion plays. That's not too bad. That's not too bad, actually. One thing I will say though about this card is the fact that it says that you have to discard a card for cost. So that's the only downside, because what can happen is what can happen is that you can easily get ashed right out the bat. That's one of the big problems that today's meta has, especially with newer archetypes that does a lot of searching in one turn, is that they can easily get ashed, and once you get ashed, it's done. Your turn's done. You can't do anything else. So the only thing you would have to do is just send pass. That's it. So that's one thing that a lot of people who are curious about this set have to be mindful of. It's just that fact. But being able to, but also not only that, it locks you out of so many monsters from the action except Light Warriors, which I believe there are quite a few actually. I know there's Arcana Knight Joker, there's Arcana Extra Joker, which I believe is the Link monster, isn't it? Where is it? Yeah, which is actually which is also a Light Warrior actually. So that's honestly not too bad, but that's one thing that you gotta be mindful of, and it's a once per turn. Next up, we have Face Card Fusion. I believe this is the polymerization for the King's Knight, Queen's Knight, Jack's Knight, where it says fusion summon a Light Warrior fusion from your deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material. If you control Queen's Knight, King's Knight, or Jack's Knight, you can use one monster from your deck as fusion material. You can only activate this card once per turn. So again, yeah. So basically, this is the polymerization to summon, not just Arcana Knight Joker, but also to summon the new fusion, which I'll be talking about here in a little bit, which is called Guilty Gear Free, the Magical Steel Knight. I'll talk about that here in a second. But yeah, basically it's the poly for the deck. Next up, we have Thunder Speed Summon, which is a quick play spell. During the main or battle phase, immediately after this card resolves, normal summon a level 10 monster. Or if you control Queen's Knight, and Jack's Knight, you can apply this effect instead. Add a level 10 non-dark monster with question mark attack from your deck to your hand. Then immediately after the card resolves, you can normal summon a level 10 monster. So basically, if you have all three King's Knight, Queen's Knight, Jack's Knight on the field, you're able to not only automatically add, not only are you able to add Arcana Triumph Joker to your hand, you're able to just summon it like right off the bat. Right off the bat. Being able to just do that like in an instant, it gives you not only does it give you an extra body on board, but it also gives you a bit of a little more leeway to trigger Triumph Joker's effect, but also to be able to use face card fusion as well and go into Guilty Gear Free, the Magical Steel Knight as well, which is pretty much the main card you're gonna go after, which I'll talk about here in a little bit. Next up, we have Joker's Wild, which is a normal trap. During the main or battle phase, send one spell from your deck to the grave. That specifically lists all of Queen's Knight, King's Knight, and Jack's Knight. This effect becomes that spell's effect when that card is activated during the end phase. When that card is activated, during the end phase, if this card is in your grave, you can target a Light Warrior monster in your grave, shuffle it into the deck, and if you do, add this card to your hand. You can only use each effect of Joker's Wild once per turn. So not only is it not only can you use it as not only can you use it as face card fusion, which is basically like poly, you can also crazy enough, you can also use the second effect on the same turn, because it does not say except the turn that this card was sent to the grave. If it said that, you would have had to wait until next round, until next turn to activate the second effect. You can actually activate both effects in the same turn. Whoa, him. Oh, anyway, you're able to activate both effects in the same turn. Activate the first effect, go into Guilty Gear Free, this Magical Steel Knight, and then be able to target a Light Warrior in your grave and shuffle it back into the deck. And then you can just add this card back to your hand from your graveyard. So you're able to recycle this card over and over again. Activate Apolymerization. Go into Arcana Knight Joker. Go into go into even more fusions. This is a recycle on its own. This card can just recycle itself. That's why I feel like this is only a one of, because you can just recycle it over and over and over again. And even if this card were to get destroyed by the effects of I'll say Twin Harvey's Feather Duster, maybe even Twin Twister, this card will still come back to your hand entirely, just right off the bat, which is insane. And then for the continuous trap, we have Court of Cards. If you control no monsters or only control Queen's Knight, King's Knight, and or Jack's Knight, you can special summon one of them from your hand or graveyard. That's it. So it's either you can Sidra, it's either you can Cyber Dragon the monster, one of those monsters, or Reborn one of those monsters. You can banish up to one each, King's Knight, Queen's Knight, and or Jack's Knight from your hand or grave. Drop the same number of cards you banish. You can only use one per turn, and only once that turn. So it's a hard once per turn, meaning you can only use it once during that turn. So that second effect, it's basically a +3 or a +2 depending on how you see it. The only thing is that you would need to do cards like Pot of Acquisitiveness, which will help you take those cards, put them back into the deck, and you're able to draw one card. So it can also be a +4 as well, which is actually not too shabby. Next up, we have Magnet Induction. I believe this is for the Magnet Warriors. If you control a Magnet Warrior, so if you control a Magnet Warrior whose original level is 4 or lower, special summon a low 4 or lower Magnet Warrior from your deck with a different name than the cards you control. Also this turn, after this card resolves, Magnet Warrior and Magna Warrior monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle or your opponent's card effects. You can only activate one per turn. So this is basically a protection for your Magna Warriors and your Magna Warriors, which that's not too bad. That's actually not too bad. And the only thing is that it's only protected during that turn. So that's actually pretty good. That's actually pretty good. Next up, we have Xyz Hyper Cannon, which is actually for Xyz Dragons, which is a continuous trap. You must control Xyz Dragon Cannon or a fusion monster that lists Xyz Dragon Cannon as material to activate this card's effect. This card's effect depends on whose turn it is. Your turn. You can target one of your banished union monsters, place it on the bottom. Oh, it's XYZ Dragon. Oh, I thought it was Xyz. Okay, yeah. Okay, so this is basically for the XYZ archetype, basically. Your turn, you can target one of your banished union monsters, place it on the bottom of the deck, and if you do, draw one card. Your opponent's turn. You can discard any number of cards, then target the same number of cards your opponent controls, destroy those cards. You're going to use this effect of XYZ Hyper Cannon once per turn. So it's just basically, it's basically another board wipe for the XYZ, engine, if you will. Golden Eyes Idol. I think this might be a reprint, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I think that might be a reprint, if I remember correctly. Let me take a look. I think it is a reprint. I believe it is a reprint, if I remember right. Golden Eyes Idol. Is it a reprint? I'm actually gonna look online. I think it might be a reprint, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. Oh, it is not. It is not a reprint. It's actually new. It's actually a new. It's a new card for us. Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought so. So it is actually it's actually a new card for us. Whoa. Oh, that's right. Okay, yes, I thought so. So it was released in the Prismatic God box. That's right. So this is actually a new card, which is a 1-star Dark Spellcaster with 0 attack and defense. Once per turn, as a quick effect, you can activate this effect. Look at your opponent's hand. Also, this card's name becomes Thousand Eyes Idol until the end phase. If this card is banished or sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can target one effect monster your opponent controls. Equip that effect monster to one ice, restrict, or relinquish monster you control that cannot be normal summoned. While equipped by this effect, that monster gains attack equal to the attack of the equipped monster. You can only use this effect once per turn. Yeah, so it's just basically another form of like relinquish, Thousand Eyes, restrict, whatnot. It's actually not that bad. Personally though, I don't think I really don't think that this card would be any good because of the fact that you do have Thousand Eyes restrict, you've got relinquish, you have relinquish anima, you've got mind control, which is another one. Brain control is another one. There are just so many different ways that you can control one of your opponent's monsters, and this card is just I feel like this card will just get in the way, in my personal opinion. Next up, we have Zolga the Prophet. I believe this was also released in the Prismatic God box, which is a 4-star Earth Fairy, 1700 attack, 1200 defense. What is up with my chair? What's up with my chair? 1700 attack, 1200 defense. If you control an Earth Fairy, accept this card. You can special summon this card from your hand. Then look at up to 5 cards from the top of each player's deck. When a monster that was normal summoned by tributing this card declares an attack, you can banish this card from your grave, destroy that monster. If you do, inflict 2,000 damage to your opponent. You're going to use each effect once per turn. So basically, so it's just a way for you to not only deal damage to your opponent, but also be able to anticipate what your opponent's next move will be once you have a look at their at the top of their deck. So it's not too bad. It's actually not that bad. Next up, we have Future number 0. We have number F0. The F actually stands for future, for those who are wondering. Excuse me. Ooh, excuse me. Future number 0, Utopic Draco Future, which is a rank 0. Rank 0, mind you. Light Warrior Exceeds with 3,000 attack, 2,000 defense, and requires 3 Exceeds monsters with the same rank except numbers. This card's original rank is always treated as 1. This card is always treated as a Utopic Future card. You can also exceed summon this card by using Utopic Future you control as material, transfer the materials to this card. Cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Broken. Just broken. It just protects itself. Broken. Once per turn, when your opponent activates a monster effect as a quick effect, you can detach material from this card, negate the activation. Then, if that monster is on the field, gain control of it. Wow! So not only is it a solemn judgment, so to speak, but it's also a mind control. Mind control, dude. I am so gonna build the Utopia deck. I am so building it. As to how, I've got 0 clue. But I always figure it out. You guys know, I always figure it out. That's actually pretty good. And this is probably a one of, just because just because of the fact that you're not gonna be able to have enough room to have multiple copies of this card in your extra deck, because you're gonna be adding cards like Utopia Ray, Utopia the Lightning, Utopia Double as well, Utopia Roots perhaps if you're running that one, even also Utopia Ray V, which is actually a pretty good one, a pretty good Xyz monster as well. Now we have Guilty Gear Free, the Magical Steel Knight. It's an 8-star Light Warrior Fusion with 2,700 attack, 1,600 defense. And it requires 2 warriors with different attributes. Once per turn, when a card or effect is activated that targets this card as a quick effect, you can negate that effect, and if you do, destroy 1 card on the field. If this card was fusion summoned using only monsters on the field as material, it can make a second attack during each battle phase. So with that effect, it's basically a Cyber Twin Dragon, basically. So it's pretty good. Once per turn, if this card battles an opponent's monster during damage count as a quick effect, you can banish 1 spell from your grave. This card gains attack equal to half its current defense until the end of the turn. So basically, it gains. Because that it has 1,600 defense, its attack will go up by 800. So 27, 20, 29, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Basically, it gains. Its attack will go up to 3,500. I had to count out loud to make sure I was right. It basically just goes up to 3,500, being able to deal a pretty decent amount of damage. Not bad. It is actually not that bad. Next up, we have Crystal Girl. This is actually another one of the newer ones. I believe this is an OCG import as well. It's a 1-star water spellcaster. I don't know why the fuck this card's in here. With 200 attack and 100 defense. If this card is normal or special summon, you can activate this effect. During the end phase of this turn, add 1 level 5 or higher water monster from your deck to your hand. If you control a level 5 or higher water monster and this card is in your grave, you can special summon this card, banish it when it leaves the field. You can only use each effect once per turn. So basically, this would be perfect for pretty much any water deck that has a bunch of 5-star monsters. But what's interesting about this? What's interesting about this is that this card actually reminds me of Galactic Spiral Dragon, where you can actually bypass the banish effect by using Crystal Girl and another 1-star monster as Xyz material to go into a rank 1 Xyz monster, and then when you detach Crystal Girl, you can just send it automatically goes into the graveyard. It does not get banished. So technically, you can use this effect over and over and over again, which that's actually pretty good. That's a pretty good effect. That's pretty broken, actually. Really, really good. Next up, we have Tinangle D-Holes? What the hell? What the fuck kind of name is that? Tindangle Holes? I think the D is silent. So it's Tenangle Holes, which is a 5-star Dark Fiend flip monster with 1,000 attack and defense, and its flip effect says you can send one spell or trap from your deck to your grave. Basically, a fool's burial goods. Basically, just plain simple. If this card is sent from the hand or deck to the grave, you can target one Tenangle monster in your grave, except this card. Special summon in face down defense position. You can only use each effect of the preceding effects of this card once per turn. And a Tenangle Link monster that uses card as material can make 3 attacks during each battle phase. So I don't even know why this card is here. The only thing I know is that Tenangles did not do well. It didn't even go off when it was released. I think it was like Code of the Duelist. The archetype was just trash. So I don't know if this card would be viable in today's meta, but still it's there. Rose Princess. I believe this is one of the newer ones. I think this was released in Lightning Overdrive. But if it is new, it's a 3-star Earth Plant, 1,200 attack, 800 defense. If your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. It says if only your opponent controls a monster. Yeah. If summoned this way, treat this card as a tuner. You can only special summon Rose Princess once per turn this way. You can discard this card, add 1 White Rose Cloister from your deck to your hand. So it's basically a terraforming, basically. Not much to say about that. Next up, we have Morphkane Stygia Gel, which is a 1-star Dark Fiend tuner with 100 attack and defense. If this card is normal or special summon, you can target one other face-up monster on the field. You cannot special summon monster from the extra deck except synchro monsters for the rest of this turn. Also, change this card's level to the level of that target. If you do, gain life points equal to that target's level times 200. During your end phase, you can special summon one fiend monster with a level lower than this card from your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. You know what? Because that this is a tuner, I may end up having to add this card into my Dark World deck. I may end up having to take some cards out and add this card, because this card is just basically another form of Red Resonator where you're gaining life points just right off the bat. That's actually really good. I may end up having to use that. Yeah, there's a lot of new cards here. Next up, we have White Rose Cloister, which is the field spell. If you control no monsters, you can special summon one Rose Dragon monster or a plant monster from your hand. You can only use this effect of White Rose Cloister once per turn. During your draw phase, before you draw, you can declare one card type, monster spell trap, and reveal the top card of your deck. And if it's the declared type, apply this effect for the rest of the turn, even if this card leaves the field. Level 7 or higher synchro monsters you control gain 1,000 attack. It's basically a card advance / Axe of Despair, so to speak. Sorry guys, I thought I was gonna belch. That's what it basically is. It's basically that. Which honestly, that's actually really good. That's really good. A really good effect. And this is a once per turn deal. Plain simple. Next up, we have Burning Soul, which is the quick play spell. This is actually one of Jack's new cards. If you control a level 8 or higher synchro monster, add one card from your grave to your hand. Except Burning Soul. Then immediately after the card resolves, synchro summon using monster you control as material. For the rest of the turn, after this card resolves, your opponent cannot target synchro monsters on the field with card effects. So it's basically a protection. This card is not only a protection, it's also a Rhoda. You're basically searching cards from a card from your deck, you're synchro summoning, and it's a protection. I don't even have to say anything about it. I've got nothing to say about it. Next up, we have Hyper Gal. How many new cards do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 new cards, and then the rest are reprints, I believe. So next up we have Hyper Galaxy, which is a quick play spell. Tribute one monster with 2,000 or more attack, except Galaxy Ice Photon Dragon. Then target one monster your opponent controls with 2,000 or more attack, tribute it, and if you do, special summon a Galaxy Ice Photon Dragon from your hand, deck, or graveyard. You can only activate one Hyper Galaxy per turn. Basically, it's just another way to summon. It's just another easy way to summon Galaxy Ice Photon Dragon from your hand, deck, or graveyard. So it can either be a Cyber Dragon, it could be a special summon from the deck, or a Monster Reborn. It's just that good. It's just that good. I may end up having to put this card into my Galaxy Eyes main, and I'll be doing the deck profile really soon. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. But that's just broken. That's broken. Next up, we actually have the three cards that were used by Yu-Gi-Oh in the Arc 5 anime in the last episode, I think, of the Arc 5 anime. First up, we have Pendulum Transfer. Target up to 2 Pendulum monsters you control. Place those targets in your Pendulum zones. You can only activate 1 Pendulum Transfer per turn. I don't have to say anything about it. You're transferring Pendulum monsters from your monster zone to your Pendulum zones. That's it. That is it. That is it. Enough said. Pendulum Exceeds. Target 2 cards in your Pendulum zones. Special summon both targets but negate their effects. Then immediately after this card resolves, Exceed summon 1 Exceed monster using only those 2 monsters. When you do, you can treat the level of one of the monsters as the same as the other one. So basically, if you have a level 8 and let's say a level 5, basically the level 5 can be treated as a level 8, or the level 8 can be treated as the level 5. So you can either go into a rank 8 or a rank 5 Exceeds. There are so many different combinations that they can do with said pendulums. It's just that broken. Dowsing Fusion. Fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your action by banishing fusion materials listed on it from your graveyard. Only pendulum monsters can be used as fusions material for this card's effect. You can only activate 1 Dowsing Fusion per turn. So it's basically Pendulum Fusion, I believe. I believe we had something similar. Pendulum Fusion, basically. Not bad. Basically another form of poly. And then the last new card is Eternal Bond. Target any number of photon monsters in your grave, special summon them, but their effects are negated. During your end phase, you can banish this card from your grave, then target 1 photon monster your opponent controls, take control of it, and if you do, its attack for the rest of the turn becomes the combined original attack of all photon monsters you currently control. Also, you cannot declare attacks this turn except with that monster. You can only use each effect once per turn. So basically it said you're able to not only special summon monsters, galaxy, photon monsters from your graveyard, but their effects are negated, which is kind of okay. But being able to, I really don't have anything else to say about this card except it's not that bad. It's actually not that bad. And then for the reprints, we have Queen's Knight, King's Knight, Jack's Knight, Arcana Knight Joker, Arcana Extra Joker, which was actually a promo from the 2018 tins. Gravekeeper Spy, Majestic Dragon, Stardust Shaolong, Rescue Rabbit, Zexal Weapon Tornado Bringer, Zexal Weapon Ultimate Shield, and Eagle Claw. Scrap Twin Dragon, which is a older card, which is not that bad. Which is actually not bad. Being able to just pop cards on the board, pretty good. Cloud Castle is another really good reprint. Baxia, Brightness of the Yang Zing, Xiao Fang, Phantom of the Fang Zing, Utopia, Evilzord Dolka, Wind Up Arsenal Zemayo, which I believe is set. Let's see, what does it say? Once per turn, you can attach 1 material from this card, target 2 set cards on the field, destroy them. So basically, Twin Twister. It's basically Twin Twister, just right there. Utopia Ray, number C39, Utopia Ray, Constellar Ptolemy M7, pretty awesome, really awesome reprint. Zexal Weapon Leo Arms, that's another really good reprint. Number 49, Fortune Tune, I believe. Number Hunters was the first printing of that card, and then Future Number 0, Utopic Future, and then for the rest of the cards we have Infinite Cards, Reinforcement of the Army, the Warrior returning alive, Ties of the Brethren, Pot of Duality is another really good one, Unexpected Die, World Legacy Guard Dragon, Lightning Storm. Yes, Lightning Storm is actually in this set, and you know this is going to be the collector's rare of the set. Rivalry of Warlords, Converging Witches, and then the Wicked Gods are being reprinted. Yes, the Wicked Gods. We have the Wicked Dreadroot, the Wicked Avatar, and then the Wicked Eraser. I believe these were Shonen Jump promos, and then they were reprinted as tin promos a number of years ago. So, what are my thoughts on it? I think this is an awesome set. The only problem that I have with this set is the fact that there's only one archetype. There's only like two archetypes they'll probably, there are two decks that'll probably get like become really good with the set. That would have to be obviously the Knight and the Utopia. That's it. So do I recommend getting this box, getting it as a sealed box? No, I do not recommend it. If you want to get them as loose packs, that's fine. I prefer to get them as singles, honestly, in my personal opinion. So, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Question of the day: what are your guys' thoughts on King's Court? What are your guys' thoughts on this set? And will this set define the meta post recent ban list? Let me know in the comments below. And that is going to do it for this video. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel, you guys want more Yu-Gi-Oh news videos in the future, which gets posted every Tuesday. I know that I'm posting this on Wednesday, but you guys know how it is. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you guys do not miss out on any new content that comes your way. And be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. All the links will be down in the description below if you guys have any. And if you guys have any fan mail that you want to send me and want me to open up on the channel, my address will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.